Hey everybody, Lo-Fi here, back at it again with another review, this time on the Medicom Mafex Daredevil. Don't mind me, I'm just posing this guy around. He looks really sick, really cool. I've actually been wanting to get this guy for a while. I had a pre-order up for him for last year, and then I kind of missed out on it. That was my own fault. But yeah, I finally was able to secure the bag, and this guy is very, very cool looking. Been having fun posing him around, as you can see, and I'm going to get him looking straight up real quick. You guys can get a good look at him, and I'll go more into detail on the figure overall, like right now, and see all the shading detail, all the paint all over. Gonna go over these glossy red boots for a second. Look at that. The light just bounces right off my camera onto the figure. Very, very good looking, very solid looking figure. And no peg holes at the bottom of the feet, but you can see that toe articulation start to peek through, and I'll get into that in just a moment. But yeah, look at all that shading all over the musculature in the figure, and if you look real close, you can see some wrinkles up at the upper thigh. You see all that detail in the belt. See all this throughout the arms. See all that extra shading detail and extra paint detail added to the figure. It's a very nice touch. I'll bring you to the back of the figure. You see more of that on the back and those back muscles. On the lower back, you see more of that suit stretching. Very good attention to the detail. It's like Daredevil jumped right out of the comic book with this one. Very, very cool looking. You see that there looks to be some discoloration in the plastic as well compared to the arms and the back. But still very, very good looking, very solid. And I'm just pointing this out right here. And you see the musculature in the upper forearm and in the bicep right there. Still got that glossiness to the gloves and the boots. You see that glossy embossed Daredevil logo right there and all the musculature on the abs right there. Very, very good looking. And then let me pop this head off real quick so you guys can get a really good look at that. Stand up straight up. Yeah, look at this angry head sculpt. Very, very good looking, very solid addition. I got a little bit of paint splotching on the nose, but it looks like he got it punched in the face, so very, very good anyway. See that glossy red eyes right there and more shading in the head. And you see his ear right there. Very good attention to detail. Love the grit teeth head sculpt. That's why I have it on there. Matt's an angry guy anyway, so it kind of works out. Let me pop that right back on. And now, for just a second, I'll give you guys a moment to look at the figure right before I get into the articulation. Oof. Again, this guy is a very solid release. All right, let's get into that articulation. Let me actually pop out the billy clubs real quick. And let me pump some extra stuff into it. Let me get them all straightened up and figured out. Get the other head sculpt on. There we go. Look at that. Very good, very solid looking Daredevil figure. Okay, so his head looks up about this high. He's got a ball joint in the top and lower part of the neck. You can look up, look down about that far. Very good range of movement. I'm going to see if he can do a little wiggle around real quick. Good amount of tilt. There we go. All the way around. Very solid. Looks left to right. Perfect looking figure. Alrighty, pop that head off again, just to show you that dumbbell joint. Very, very nice looking. Sure that'll actually pop on. Alrighty, now let's get into the arms. His arms can move up. See how high I can get them. Get up almost into a Y-type stance. Goes further than 90 degrees. Look at that. Look at that perfect Y pose with this Daredevil figure. Very, very solid. Loving this range of movement in the arms. Very, very solid. Get those arms back down. See this butterfly joint in here. Has full extension. Then you go all the way around. Got that ball joint right there. And then I'll let him go all the way around. He's got bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. Sorry if it sounds like my phone's going off. Alright, got that wrist swivel right there. Very solid. And then let's get into that torso articulation. He's got a ball joint at the top and bottom of the torso, which will allow him to bend back about this far, which is very, very impressive, that both combined. Get some gappage in the front, but that's to be expected. And then he can dip forward. Crunch all the way in. Look at that. And I'm going to show you in the back just for a second. Look at all that gappage right there. But again, to be expected with a figure with the full range of movement like this. And then with that upper and lower torso, you're going to be able to get some good tilt. Let's get into some of that tilt. I'm trying to make sure I don't scratch up my abs on my figure, because that tends to happen with most Mafex figures. You can get scratches and chips just by bending it and posing around so much. So I'm trying to be cautious with that. But look at how far it can go side to side. Then you can swivel up front, and then you can swivel at the bottom. Very, very solid looking. And then I'll get into the legs real quick. He's got that drop down hinge, much like most of the Marvel Legends Spider-Man figures, and he's allowed to go up about this far with his leg, very high up. Very cool looking, but in a standard pose it'll look like this. Still a very good high kick right there. And then he's got the ball joint at the billy club, so you can kind of rotate around, so you can get around some of that maneuverability for the figure. Then he'll be able to do the splits about this far, which is very, very cool. Very wide stance splits, better than most Spider-Man figures. And then let's see right here. Let me do that little upper thigh swivel. All the way up. Good range of motion right there. And then he's got them double knees that don't go in as much as I would like, but still very, very good. Very solid double knee right there. Very, very cool. Alrighty. And then he's got those ball joints at the ankle that will allow you to go various range of movements. Go down right there. Go up right there. Got a little bit of tilt, swivel, rotation right there, and toe articulation. So this guy is very well equipped, very well articulated, very good looking, very nice. He'll be able to get into a bunch of iconic and classic Daredevil poses, which I will be able to provide at the end of the video. Let me get him stood straight up right here, get him looking sturdy, get him looking right. Here we go right here. There we go. This is peak Daredevil. And now I'm going to get into accessories in just a moment. Let me make sure he'll actually stand for a second right here. Alrighty, let's get into those accessories. Okay, so right now we're going to get into the hands right here. These are the Billy Club holding hands. So they're like your basic fists, but with a hole in them. Very good, and you'll see that shading detail across the knuckles, that little black wash right there. Very cool on the little plastic arm trees. And then we'll get into our next set of hands real quick. These are the open sort of clawing, like attack hands, like karate hands, or like action, like kung fu grip hands. And these are very cool. More of that black wash across the knuckles. Very solid looking. A little bit of stretching in the fabric from where he's sprawling out his hands. Very cool. And let's see. Let's get our next pair of hands. These are the open palm hands. More like your flight hands or your karate chopping hands. I like to use these in like the flight stances. Like when he's leaping off buildings and whatnot. And then we'll get into our next set of hands. These ones are more like the sort of like sprawled out hands, like more actiony hands, but not as like angry. More like he's reaching for something, more not like he's grabbing for something, or like he's throwing something, like his billy clubs or whatever. Still get more of that detail. Very sick, very nice. And let's see, what else have we got? We got these relaxed hands. I like the relaxed hands, but I never use them. They're cool to do in neutral poses, but I never use them. All right, and then we have our Billy Club holster here, much like most Mafex figures. There's not a whole lot of storage on them, but they'll give the illusion of storage. It just connects with a ball joint right there. And we have a couple of options for those that I'll get into in just a second. My man is just not balancing right. I just got to adjust him real quick. Hold on just a second. All right, now let's get these options for you. So for the Billy Club holders, let me try and find them real quick. Sorry about that. We have more of these right here. We have the empty ones right here, just basic gloss red paint. And then we have the partial one. not including the one on his hip, which is just both of them full. So you have like two different options, and I like having those options. It looks very good, and it makes sense in photos. Alrighty, let's get to our next accessories, the billy clubs themselves. So this one has like the sort of handle on it, like it's the cane. I'll show you guys what that looks like real quick. So if it were to be a cane, it would look like that. It'd look like a blind man holding a cane, all that sort of good jazz. Now, be careful with these because these are red plastic with white paint, and mine already had a QC issue out of the box right there. And you can kind of see when you're sliding them in and out of the figure that there will be some paint wear and tear. So just be careful of that when you're messing around with them, or spray them with a primer. Other than that, you should be good to go. These are very fun to use. I pose them with them all the time because it's Daredevil. He's got to have his billy clubs. Okay, and next we get the wired billy clubs, and this one has more of the cane hook. And you see that nice bendy wire right there. And you can get it into a whole bunch of unique Daredevil swinging poses. And then you get the billy club connected to the other billy club, and you can do like billy club throwing poses with these, all that sort of jazz. Very, very cool. Very fun to pose around with, very fun to play with. I enjoy messing around with these a whole lot. I don't like ruining the bendy wire, but it happens. And we've already seen the neutral head sculpt. It's been on this figure for a minute. Pretty basic, pretty boring, you know. And here's the angry Matt Murdock head. Very cool, very interesting. Like the grit teeth, like the angry look, like you're facing down Kingpin. Very cool, very unique looking. Love this guy, love the anger. And right after this, we're going to get into some size comparisons. So hold on while I'm looking at this for a little second. And then we'll roll right onto those. And then we have black suited Spider-Man and brown costume Wolverine coming up. And then we have the variants of those. Then we have Batman stuff. Then we have Mezco Daredevil, Iron Fist, Defenders, more Defenders type characters, Punisher. And then we have Kingpin, Hand Ninja, more villains, and Marvel Legends. And the photos are a little mixed at the end, but please enjoy them.